All right. This did happen yesterday, but the fallout is absolutely hilarious because Medea Hassan is triggered by Jill Stein. Now, there's a lot to take in regards to this entire election that's happening, but yes, there are third-party candidates, and as it stands, hey, everybody, pretend to be shocked. Abandon Harris campaign endorses Jill Stein and Butch Ware for 2024 presidential election. Now, there are a lot of liberals and Democrats that are shocked by that, but again, two words, and we'll have democracy in the chat. And I'm going to ask you guys, type 1 if you understand the words abandon Harris. That's right. I'm doing a little Uno reverse here. Type 1 if you understand the words abandon Harris. Type 2, no, I don't know what that means. Abandon Harris. So what does that mean? Abandon Harris. The word abandon means leaving, tossing aside, dismissing, retreating from. And then there's Harris, Kamala Harris. Abandon Harris abandons Kamala Harris and endorses Jill Stein. So an organization called Abandon Harris will most likely 100% guarantee not endorse Kamala Harris and instead possibly either one sit out or either that endorse somebody. And they chose to endorse Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party. Case in point right here. Here is their statement. So let's go ahead and bring it up here. This is from the Abandon Harris campaign site. And here's what they wrote. And I don't think I'll be able to read it in its full entirety. I'll try my very best. And no, I cannot. What a shame. Trying to read. Here we go. Finally. Let's talk about it. For immediate release. In October 2023, after the darkening shadow of the U.S.-backed Israeli project of Palestinian annihilation, the Abandon Harris campaign, formerly abandoned Biden, was born. Our movement remains dedicated to ensuring that the American people, especially the Muslim American community, recognize the responsibility we share by standing up against oppression and using all our power to stop genocide wherever it may rise. Well, yeah, it seems reasonable. Seems reasonable to me. I think that seems reasonable right there for a good opening statement. We have consistently emphasized the importance of utilizing every available tool to resist injustice, with voting being a critical element. While voting alone is not the solution to our pursuit of truth and justice, it is a powerful tool that must be wielded ethically. As Claudia de la Cruz often reminds us, your vote is your consent. A vote is not just a political act, it is more profoundly a moral one. With this in mind, the Abandon Harris campaign officially endorses Dr. Jill Stein and her running mate, Dr. Butch Ware, for the 2024 presidential election. And again, Dr. Jill Stein and her running mate, Butch Ware, are both running in the Green Party. Seems reasonable. We are not choosing between a greater evil and lesser evil. We are confronting two destructive forces, one currently overseeing a genocide and the other equally committed to continuing it. Both are determined to see it through. We call on Muslim Americans and all who stand firmly against genocide to vote for the Green Party in 2024. The path to justice is long, painful, and difficult, but it's ours to pave and follow. Abandon Harris will hold a press conference on Wednesday, October 9th at the Henry Ford Centennial Library at 16301 Michigan Avenue, Dearborn, Michigan at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, good for the Abandon Harris campaign. That's what they're doing. I would expect nothing less. And here is Dr. Jill Stein's response to it.
Jill here, and I just want to give a very quick shout out and a very deep, heartfelt thank you to Abandon Harris, formerly Abandon Biden. Thank you so much for all you're doing, and especially for your endorsement released today of our presidential campaign. We must vote to end the genocide, which is now enlarging into a major regional war in the Middle East. This is impoverishing us, it's endangering us, and above all, there is a moral imperative right now to shut down this genocide. I'm so thankful to Abandon Harris. You have led the fight to end this genocide from the very start, and you have led the fight for the political means of ending the genocide, which is the only way that we can shut it down, which we must do now. Every vote for our campaign is a shot across the bow of the empire to tell them that their days are numbered. We are organized, we are here to stay, and we are growing stronger.
And here's the thing. There's a lot of Democrats that seem to be floored and shocked by this. Shocked and surprised that an organization called Abandon Harris would want to endorse Dr. Jill Stein. Now, I want to be clear here on this one, too, because there's a lot of people saying to me, well, Kit, third parties can't win. Kit, third parties cannot win. I'm not expecting to see a third-party victory, but I am expecting third parties like the Greens and Libertarians to maybe get a higher voter turnout than ever before that's ever been witnessed in any previous presidential election cycle. Now, that's my idealism there, but I think there's a very good possibility that that could very well happen. I don't see the third party securing the White House, no, but it's not about winning the White House. It's actually about building a movement. Now, of course, many people still want to weaponize and say that third parties are out there to destroy. You got people saying, we are not in a position to win the White House, but we do have real opportunity to win something historic. We could deny Kamala Harris the state of Michigan. And you know something? This is from Shama Sawant. So I want her own words to be said here. But there's a bigger picture here. See, Democrats, you're the ones that abandoned Arab and Muslim voters, not the other way around.
The election has already started. Absentee ballots have been sent. We need to catch up rapidly. We need everyone here to get active. We need to be clear about what our goals are. We are not in a position to win the White House. But we do have a real opportunity to win something historic. We could deny Kamala Harris the state of Michigan.
And there's a reason why people are cheering, because the Democrats gave the middle finger to the uncommitted voters. Remember, uncommitted volunteers. You need to knock on the door of your leadership and really ask them why they still hold out for hope that somehow the Democrats are going to listen to you. I saw what they did to you in my city. They told you to sit outside and shut up. That's what they told you to do.
And the polls show that most likely Harris cannot win the election without Michigan. The election has already started. Absentee ballots have been sent. We need to catch up rapidly. We need everyone here to get active. We need to be clear about what our goals are. We are not in a position to win the White House.
So, with this being shared, then you have people who are easily triggered. Most notably, former BSDNC host who lost his job because he was actually critical, somewhat critical. Air quote, somewhat critical of Israel. But hey, Medea Hassan wrote this. When I interviewed Stein, she refused to concede this point that she can't win. So I am glad her people are now being honest about their goal, stopping Harris and not Trump. I wish they'd be honest about that. They're not anti-Harris and anti-Trump. They're just anti-Harris. Well, here we go. This is from Jill Stein. People are okay with genocide, back Harris or Trump. People who oppose a system that has set up a false choice between red or blue genocide will vote green. If you're comfortable in the current system and you want everyone to vote blue no matter genocide, just be honest about that. Now, so many people in the political spectrum are triggered. The Abandon Harris group pushing for voters to protest Vice President Kamala Harris over the conflict in Gaza is endorsing the Green Party's Jill Stein in the presidential race. Very good. The group, formerly known as Abandon Biden, is calling on Muslim Americans and others frustrated with the Biden administration's handling of the Israel-Hamas war to cast their ballots for the long-shot third-party bid. Our movement remains dedicated to ensuring that the American people, especially the Muslim American community, recognize the responsibility we share in standing up against oppression and using all our power to stop genocide wherever it may rise. On the precipice of the election, we endorse Jill Stein, the group said in a release. Stein, who also ran for the White House in 2012 and 2016, has little chance of being truly competitive this fall. She's not on the ballot or lodging a write-in campaign in a dozen states, according to a tracker from her campaign. And a recent New York Times Siena College survey of a handful of battleground states had her polling at just 1%. but her candidacy could act as a potential spoiler to Harris' fast-track bid amid a tight race between the vice president and former President Trump, drawing votes in vital swing states where the two major party candidates are separated by a hair. Democrats have long been frustrated by the Green Party, and Stein was seen as something of a spoiler to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign against Trump. A similar protest group, no, uncommitted volunteers, you're being dragged along. Your leadership is, well, they don't got no backbone. The uncommitted national movement said last month that it wouldn't endorse either Harris or Trump, but recommended against a third-party vote, noting that third-party votes in critical swing states could inadvertently boost Trump. To which I have to say to the uncommitted movement, then what are you doing? Don't vote third party? What are you doing? What's it about? No, seriously, sit down and talk to me. What's it about? You're uncommitted, and the Democrats kicked you outside. What was it like sitting out at the United Center hoping that the Democrats would listen to you? That's a definition of weakness. So this really says all we need to know. Again, this is a historic thing and could potentially give Dr. Jill Stein a significant boost, not only in Michigan, but dare I say it, there is a potential, however unlikely it could be, that the Greens could possibly get that coveted 5%. And I want to see the third party succeed in doing so. I want to see third parties win or maybe secure electoral college vote. Now, that's a tall order, getting that coveted 5% on election night, or either that, even securing one electoral college vote. That is something that has not been seen. I would love to see it, just to see so many liberals break down and cry about it. But when I see a group called Abandon Harris, it tells me one thing. They're an organization that's abandoning Kamala Harris, who's the Democratic nominee running this election cycle. So in what world do you think they're going to say, oh, yeah, we're abandoning Harris, but we're going to support her? Sort of like how Uncommitted is saying, oh, yeah, look, we're not going to vote for Trump or Kamala, but don't vote third party. Well, the Abandon Harris movement is a serious organization because they decided to endorse Jill Stein, because Jill Stein was the Green Party. Jill Stein's not Kamala Harris. Jill Stein's not Donald Trump. So putting that all together, it's very clear to me, as it should be very clear to all of you, that this is a correct choice for movements and organizations to start actually building a coalition. And I am ever hopeful that maybe the Greens could get their act together. I would love to see this. I need to see this. So to all the liberal sociopaths out there, to vote blue no matter who, people, cry harder, beg harder, because you know what? Even as we goddamn speak, I'm getting my umpteenth email asking me for $25. Stop asking me for money, Democrats. Beg harder. And don't just be floating up my ego saying, we can't take on the final months of the election without supporters like you. To which I have to say, here's to you, Bernie. Here's to you, you nutless cuck of a wonder. Shame on you for giving away our emails to the Democratic Party. So, liberals cry harder, but stop acting shocked when organizations that are against the Democratic Party and against the Republican Party decide to support a third party. You know, your surprised Pikachu face isn't enduring, it's annoying.